Thank you to everyone who is here with us today. The outpouring of love and support has been both overwhelming and humble. When a loved one is ill, your world, especially within the family, can become small and focused. But your presence here today reminds us that the love and connection we shared with my dad reached far beyond our immediate circle. For that, we are deeply grateful. Thank you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mona. I am the third oldest of 5 children of Ramon and Sonia. My dad was one of the hardest working, most determined and strong-willed people I've ever known. He didn't make a fuss about it. He simply did it. Looking back, I'm still in awe of how he and my mom managed to raise 5 kids while he navigated his career in medicine. He often talked about sacrifice, especially when the tough conversations came up with my siblings and me, and how he sacrificed so much for us. As a young girl, I wondered what he meant by sacrifice. What did he feel he was giving up for us? Over time, I understood that his sacrifice wasn't just about giving things up. It was about creating a meaningful life for us, showing us that his hard work and dedication to our family were precious and should never be taken for granted. This was one of his core principles, and one that I have lived by as well. Although my dad was a man of few words, there was always a strong presence about him. You listened when he spoke, partly because you couldn't ignore his booming voice. Underneath the tough exterior, he had a cheerful disposition, and his smile always came with a twinkle in his eye. He was proud, yet generous, a man who lived simply, but was always willing to indulge in life's pleasures every now and then. That was one of the things I loved about him, and something I modeled after very quickly. Throughout my life, he taught me to be strong, to speak up, to stand up for myself, and to go after what I wanted. Whenever I came to him for advice, his answer was always, "Go for it, Nini." Anyone who knew us growing up would have described my dad as strict, serious, and someone who always had the final word. As my siblings shared yesterday, we all remember the struggles and frustrations we faced in our teenage years and young adulthood. It was not easy. There were many moments when we cried to our mom, pleading with her to convince Dad to give us more freedom. As a dramatic teenager, I often wondered why my dad was so uncompromising. How could someone so firm in his ways be so difficult to understand? After all, aren't psychiatrists supposed to be compassionate and gentle? How did his patients keep coming back to see him, knowing how he was with us? Well, the summer before college, he invited me to work at his private practice filing paperwork. At $20 an hour, of course, I was thrilled to help. One day, while I was in the break room, knee-deep in boxes of files, I happened to see my dad walking out of the hallway with a patient, a young man in his early 20s, accompanied by his mother. Everyone was smiling, exchanging kind words and thank yous as they left the office. It was a rare sight to see him in this way, warm, attentive, and affable. Who was this person? Just then, one of his longtime medical assistants walked in and caught me staring. She said, "You know, that patient there has been through a lot. He was so difficult that no other doctor would see him, but your dad took him on. Your dad helped him so much. He's doing so much better now. Your dad helps a lot of people like him. He's so nice and gentle with his patients." I turned to her in disbelief. "Wait, what? My dad?" I asked. She replied, "Yes, your dad's patients love him. They always keep coming back." In that moment, I saw my dad in a new light. as a healer and a giver. I was filled with admiration and appreciation for him, not just as my father, but as a man he was in the world. That day, I felt a deep sense of pride to be his daughter. Now, as a practicing psychiatrist myself, as I'm seeing my own patients day to day, I think about this moment and do my best to emulate him in my own career. As time passed, I realized that, like many people, a part of me still sought my parents' approval, especially my dad's. Maybe it was because all he wanted for us was to feel secure, protected, and happy. And perhaps, as our parent, he knew he had to let go of some of the control and trust that we are capable. Still, there were times I wondered if there was something more I could do to leave a lasting impression on him. Then, last January, on my birthday, he sent me a text that read, in all caps, "Happy birthday." Birthday cake emoji, celebration emoji. You are one of a kind, a loving daughter to your family, and 3 beautiful kids. Helpful, intelligent, always available, thinks ahead, articulate, and a loving daughter. God's blessings will continue to shower your good deeds. 3 red heart emojis. For a man of few words, with everything he taught me to be, he finally saw me. What causes the deepest heartache is knowing that my dad truly did not want to die. He lived too happy and a full life to want to part from it. In my heart, I believe he wanted to grow old with us and, above all, be there to watch his grandchildren grow. In November of last year, he was slated to begin his 4th cancer treatment with a novel drug. We later learned that it wasn't feasible for him due to the potential radiation exposure it could have on others, including his family. At that point, spending time with family is what kept him thriving. He was no longer walking on his own and required around-the-clock care, making the treatment impossible. Despite this, with his will to fight and his stubborn nature, he insisted on moving forward with treatment. The thought of having to convince your father not to start a treatment that could add months onto his life because of the safety risk to others is a weight I never knew I would carry for the rest of my life. After weeks of discussions with my mom and siblings, he finally decided not to go through with the treatment. Shocked, I asked him what made him change his mind. He simply said, "Well, I'll have to do what is best for the family." I sat still in that moment and wept, for I knew this was the ultimate sacrifice that he made for us. I still can't imagine what life will be like without him here. The world to me seems a little sadder even, and there's an emptiness that lingers inside me. But with this sorrow comes profound gratitude. I am also deeply thankful that God chose him to be my dad, and that he found and married my mom, and that they both blessed me with my amazing siblings and family. Dad, I miss you. I know we missed out on our trip to the Philippines together this year. I hope you are there now in paradise, sitting on the porch in your childhood home in Vinson's, indulging in your favorite foods. I cannot wait to see you again, with your bright smile and the twinkle in your eye.